So this is the roadway in front of my house right now, and you can see, I can line up, there we go. Look at the temperatures there. And you can see the scale adjusting based on my finger going in and out of that thermal image. But the road temperature, hovering right around that 40-degree mark. So if the blacktop and the tarmac is 40 degrees, and now let's take a look at a grassy area, where first there's some snow still on the side of the roads. This snow, you can see 24 degrees, 23 degrees, 25. Even sidewalks. The sidewalk is about 35 with these grassy areas. The grassy area is pretty much right around ambient temperature right now, which is just about the freezing point. You can still see a lot of a snowbank here. But snow is all below freezing. The grass is right at about the freezing point. This sidewalk is just about the freezing, if not a degree above. And this wood is also a little bit warmer. But again, the biggest thing that we're going to have to worry about with the snow accumulations is that roadway. You can just see how much warmer the road is. So with these roads so warm, it's going to take a lot of snow to actually make this happen. I haven't really done vlog style with the thermal imager. The frame rate on this isn't the fastest, so it's going to be a little bit juddery. But essentially, I just wanted to give you an idea of what thermal looks like. The tarmac, that's going to be in the blacktop. That's all it looks like. It's about 8 to 10 degrees above the ambient temperature. So, when we have all these roads so much warmer, the minimum, absolute minimum we need is about 1 inch an hour to just get a little light coating. Any snow rate slower than 1 inch of an hour, nothing's going to happen on the road. It's going to be too warm. It's just going to be like a rainy day. Anything over that, that's when we start to see some accumulations. So, we're going to be seeing maybe in some areas 2 to 3 inches an hour. That's enough to maybe make a little bit of a coating to maybe a measurable amount of snow on the roads, just because of the intensity of the snow. So that's what makes this snow forecasting in late March going into April so challenging, is the roads. You may have on the grassy areas there. You may have there. This is actually showing even colder. So you may have sufficient temperatures to hold the snow, but you actually don't on the roads. So you may have, some of these forecast models are saying maybe 10 to 15 inches of snow, and that would be on the grass. On the roads, you may see maybe 1 inch, and that's about it. So let's now go inside to the studio and take a look at some of these newest forecast models. So back in the studio now, and now that we're in the studio, I got the big monitor up so we can take a look at some of these forecast maps. So first, I do want to show you all the warnings up. So here, all this pink, all that's winter storm warning. Once you get a bit more north into the Hudson Valley, Sylvan, Ulster County there, that's only right here, winter weather advisory. And let me click on that. So yesterday, in yesterday's video, I clicked on Westchester. So let me click on here again. And the time for this winter storm warning, the 21st, which is tomorrow at 6 a.m. until the 22nd at 6 a.m. And if I click here, you're going to notice one thing that's different. Let me zoom in a little bit because we got the big screen. So, winter storm warning now in effect from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. Wednesday, 6 a.m. Thursday. Heavy snow, and you saw that maybe 11 to 15 inches are expected. Portions of northeast New Jersey, southern Connecticut, and southeast New York, which means the Hudson Valley. Travel will be very difficult, impossible, especially during the evening commute. That's still a big thing. Snow will be developing during the morning and become heavy by the afternoon. Expect significant reduction in visibility. A combination of heavy snow and wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour could bring down tree limbs and power lines. So we are going to be dealing with a heavy snow again. And with those heavy snowfalls, that means, again, power outages are possible. So that is the winter storm warning. And that's pretty much for the tri-state. Let me go up a little bit more north. You can see there, nothing really too much happening. This is going to be very close to the coast, and it drops off pretty drastically. Pretty much all of New Jersey. Going into the southern part here of Pennsylvania, pretty much all the Delmarva area, Long Island, and now let's head up to New England area. Imagine if you could actually point and travel somewhere. So, we've got pretty much all of Connecticut going as far east as, say, the Boston area. And then once you get a little bit more north, there's Boston area. Once you get a bit more north of the Boston area, that's pretty much where the cutoff is. North of that, nothing really too much happening. So, we have some snow coming. I'm pretty confident in the snow coming now. Usually it's within 3 days, but the 3-day mark was still very uncertain for this situation. So on the big picture here with the radar, this is part 1 right here. Going on right now, there is snow happening in New Jersey, but this is pretty much staying south. There's still high pressure up here keeping everything at bay, but this is going to be part 2. The part 1 over the weekend, I was pretty confident it was going to stay south, which it pretty much is. Staying south of us and going to be missing most of the tri-state region there, but central and southern Jersey is getting hit. And this is part 2 right over here. Part 2 is going to be pulled in by part 1. And the other interesting part right down here at the very bottom of the screen, let me see if I can zoom in. This is going off of Georgia, South Carolina. Severe weather. So this is all kind of associated with the same system, but when you take a look at the Storm Prediction Center, there's actually watches up. Those are both tornado watches. So there's chances of tornadoes happening right around that area from pretty much central Florida up to almost the border of North Carolina. Well, anyway, back to the snowstorm. Let's take a look at some of these forecast models. The GFS here. So, clicked on a sounding. First system stays pretty much south. Then the second system rolls in. And it doesn't look like much, but that's some moderate snow going on right there. And this, you could see, that's kind of a banding. That's what I was thinking yesterday. So it still looks like that banding is happening. And then this is pretty much done sometime between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Thursday. So that's the GFS. Euro. It's still showing quite a bit of snow there, or snow happening, not necessarily accumulations. And this pretty much ends also between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Still going on a little bit in eastern Massachusetts, a little bit into even eastern Connecticut, the Twin Forks there. Well, this is saying it's pretty much going to be happening as well. Next, the Canadian, which, with all the craziness going on, I am still considering looking at the Canadian. So there's passing of system 1, stays pretty far south. The system 2. Now this shows quite a bit more intense snow. And this is also setting up some of that banding there. Not looking at the black bars, the isobars. That is something to notice because it is showing quite a bit of wind. The closer these get together, the stronger the wind. So if you look how close these are right at the center of the low, that's very strong winds out there. But that banding is still coming up in northern New Jersey. And then that pretty much is done. Also between 8 a.m. Thursday and 2 p.m. Thursday. Next icon, German model. Wow, this is so far the most intense out of all these. That's almost purple. It's so dark blue. And again, those isobars are pretty tight, so the strong winds are going to be a huge factor with this heavy, wet snow and power outages. And then let's see, yeah, also the same thing by, say, 2 p.m. on Thursday, should be done. Next here, Deep Thunder. Just going to put this in play for now. Now keep an eye on this Deep Thunder because it has one of the highest snowfall totals later. And again, there's that banding that's setting up. And let's see. This is a little bit faster. Has everything pretty much out by 6 to, let's say, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Thursday. That's the Deep Thunder. Now, remember I mentioned the Deep Thunder had the highest snowfall totals? Let's take a look at this. That's Pennsylvania there. That's saying 30.9, 23.7. So that is the highest model output out of all of the models I have looked at so far. And now here, this is the RPM. It's showing, it's kind of hard to see the banding here, but these darker blues, those are little bits of banding. Not as strong as some of the other ones, but it's still showing banding setting up and some pretty intense snowfalls in the areas. Let's see when this one says it's ending. Yeah, so this is pretty much, stop. No, it's not stopping. Okay, now it stopped. So let's see where it's actually ending. Let's say right there, which is also about 10 a.m. Now we're going to look at some of these other ones here, the NAM. That banding is setting up there as well. It's a little bit further south, but it's going from Pennsylvania through Jersey. If you notice a little bit lighter right around that New York City area, then there's some mixing going on over Long Island. But yeah, it's pretty much right at the Boston area. Then once you get north of Boston, that's where that pretty harsh cutoff is. Also, if you notice in the Hudson Valley, pretty much Orange and Putnam County are the cutoff on the NAM here. So this is where we could be seeing very steep cutoffs where you could be at maybe 10, maybe 12 inches in one spot, and then you go 5 miles or 10 miles north, and there's 2 inches. So now we're going to go through all the rest of the snowfall totals here. So the GFS, in these pinks and purples, those pinks and purples here, which are pretty much saying 5 to 10, which is what I was going last night. And now the Canadian, one of the higher ones, not the highest we saw. Right around Rockland County, it's showing 14 inches. Even going into Danbury area in Connecticut, Fairfield County, 14 inches. Then going here, right around the New Jersey-Pennsylvania border, 19 inches. So this is quite a bit of a flip. I saw 12 to 16 inches over the weekend, then it went down quite a bit, now it's going back up. These models don't know what they are doing. Icon model here, a bit more of a reasonable what I would think. So I'd say that 5 to 10 inch mark as well. Maybe a little bit more, 5 to 12. But yeah, that banding is happening pretty harshly there. One spot there almost near a foot in southern Pennsylvania. And now let's take a look at the NAM. The NAM has been one of the more reliable, I would say, forecast models. And it's saying also for that Orange Rockland County area, 10 inches of snow. Going into Fairfield, Connecticut, maybe near Danbury, which is right about where my finger is. That's right around that 5-inch mark. But again, once you get to 5 inches, that's blue. So maybe this could be a little bit more in spots over there. And there's that banding again for central Jersey. Or maybe over a foot in spots there. And then the last one here. Come on. There we go. The RPM. Again, similar to what I showed you before with the RPM, a little bit more splotchy. But those pinks right here, say that's 10 to 12 inches. 10 to 12 inches. That very light blue, it's a little hard to see on this screen. But that very light blue is right in here for southern Rockland and Westchester. Even going into New Jersey there. So that whole Rockland, Westchester, New Jersey border area could be at 10 to maybe over a foot of snow in this one. Even in North New Jersey there, some little splotchy areas going near the Jersey Shore, but not at the Jersey Shore. And green, look at green here, 16 to 20 inches. That's going into, there we go, there's Virginia. There's West Virginia, it looks like. Is that? Can't exactly make it out. A little bit hard to see on the screen here, but I know southern Pennsylvania, there's some green splotches there. And again, there's another green, like bullseye, right in center of Connecticut, which that very light green, 20 to 24 inches. So the RPM and the Deep Thunder model are both putting out the highest of the models. So we got a ride. This has been one tricky winter. I am not even looking at anything else going on beyond tomorrow right now. All my weather attention is focusing on this, because this is straining everything I have. Every bit of experience, every bit of education I've ever had, all of it's being tested right now with these forecast models flip-flopping here and there. And with the path, there's so many pieces going on, so many moving parts. It's just so hard to track and come together. So at the very end of this video, I'm going to put up my latest snowfall map. Some areas I've upped a little bit and tweaked some numbers here and there, so I'll have that up for you. Overall though, check back tomorrow. I'm not sure again if I'm going to be able to go live with my regular weather podcast on Wednesdays, just because last time I lost power, and that tends to happen. We may be losing power here again in the studio. And if that happens, I'll try and at least get a video up and uploaded somehow. But definitely check back. Hit that subscribe button below. Little bell icon right next to that so you get notified whenever I upload a video or I go live. So this is meteorologist Andrew Bonero. Don't forget to check back often for more weather updates. Have a great evening, everybody.